What's up, traders? It's Vinboss out here giving you the update of today's daily market analysis. Now, without wasting further time from the beginning of today's price movement, then the price has just moved up. What I do want to see the continuation. I would like to see it continue to this upside to retest the first supply zone at 1.1650. This would be a great place to look for bearish patterns and formations to continue down, make a new low and retest it, and then continue to the downside to take out structure of this last week's low to make this new low at 1.1541. Now this would be a fantastic setup. So for now, I do still see this as part of the correction to the upside to make sure we reach the first demand zone or the second demand zone, supply zone, rather, not the demand zone, the first supply zone on the second supply zone, and the second supply zone level is 1.1680. Now if you do have a pen and paper, this would be a fantastic setup for you to look out for and make sure you make some pips. If you have pen and paper, please jot down these levels and keep watch and see the reaction to those levels. And after checking the reaction, please make sure that you get in, because there will be bearish patterns and formations at those particular levels. So without wasting further time, traders, let's go to the pound and the US dollar. And traders, with the pound and the dollar, very similar to the euro right now, what we do have is a pullback to the upside to retest this supply zone at 1.3370, or a deeper continued pullback to retest the second supply zone at 1.3418. This would also be a great place to look for selling opportunities to go to the downside to take out structure from last week's low at 1.3261. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities. But if we do not necessarily reach this second demand zone, the first demand zone, of course, will also be a great place for you to look for selling opportunities and to take out structure right here at 1.3261. Now, this would be a great place for anybody else to look for selling opportunities as soon as we complete this pullback to retest this previous supply zone at 1.3370. This would be a fantastic place to look for selling opportunities. Now, with that being said, traders, let's go to the pound, or rather the euro and the Canadian dollar. With the euro and the Canadian dollar, what we do have is a continued pullback. I would like to see this pullback continue to retest this supply zone at 1.6290. This would be a great place to look for bearish patterns and formations and a continuation to the downside to take out structure right here at 1.6172. Now this would be a great place to make a new low this week, or rather, if we do have a deeper pullback, this would be the second place to look for selling opportunities, of course, at 1.6322. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities only if this level failed to hold and the buyers need to take out more of the structures that will be formed from the first supply zone. So with that being said, traders, this is the second place to look for selling opportunities. And if we do get selling opportunities, a continuation to the downside will be imminent, of course, to take out structure at 1.6172. Now this is the euro and the Canadian dollar. I do want to see it go to the downside. I do not want to see it reach the weekly break of structure or invalidate the weekly break of structure. But if it does, of course, this is where we'll be looking for buying opportunities to make that 1:3 risk to reward ratio. Now, with that being said, traders, we are going straight to the pound and the Canadian dollar. And with the pound and the Canadian dollar, you guys will have to understand that, excuse me, it is the same thing as the euro and the Canadian dollar. And with that being said, before we go to the pound and the Canadian dollar, let me remind you, traders, that Joining the Finboss Signal Factory is very simple and easy. All you have to do is register your real account with us and under our exclusive XNS broker link. With that being said, after the registration, verify your account and then fund the minimum of $100 and more. So with that being said, traders, all after doing that, all you need to do is send proof of registration to admin at WhatsApp 068 0605332. I repeat those numbers 068 0605332. And with that being said, let's go straight to the pound and the Canadian dollar. Traders, similar to the euro and the Canadian dollar, what I do want to see or expect to see in this currency market is a continued pullback to reach out to the first supply zone right here at 1.8723. This would be a great place to look for selling opportunities or bearish patterns and formations to continue down to make the new low from last week, which is at 1.8557. Now, this would be a great signal if we do get the greatest of bearish patterns and the formations around here. But if the market takes this deeper, we still have the second place of supply zone, of course, where we will be selling towards the same target of 1.8557. And here, this will be the second supply zone only if this supply zone, the first supply zone, was invalid and it was not holding enough. This would still be the greatest place to look for selling opportunities. Of course, this would be the second supply zone will be 1.8763. This would be a fantastic place to look for selling opportunities, of course, to the downside. And with that being said, traders, this is the pound and the Canadian dollar. So let me remind you, traders, that if you after you've registered and funded your account, there's nothing different from us that you will get. The only thing that you will get are exclusive rights, like getting your daily sessions from London session like this one, and then getting your New York sessions, which the free YouTube watch list does not get, because right now what you are seeing us analyze every day and week in and week out is the free YouTube watch list with only 6 currency market pairs. So with that being said, what will happen is when you are registered with the real account traders community, you would rather get all the currency pairs or specifically pick the currency pairs that only suit you, or rather some people just choose gold signals. There is that, but if you want gold mixed with other currency pairs, then it is still a fantastic choice of idea. So you will sit down and tell us what kind of portfolio you want in your assets, or you want your assets to be. Okay, and with that being said, traders, that is not all. You also get this strategy that we are using and a couple of other strategies that are proven not only by me but by other trading professionals, which allows us to give you more of this winning rate that we are always showing week in and week out. And for those of you who are not who are here for the first time, what you should be doing is going back to the videos and watching exactly what we've said and what we've been doing every day on the weekly forex forecast, and see how we follow our plans and see how we adapt to new market conditions throughout the week. So with that being said, traders, this is Finboss Signal Factory. So without wasting much time, we will not be discussing, as if you have watched our weekly forex forecast, I did mention that we will not be dealing with the euro and the Canadian, the euro and the pound. Rather, we will go to the last and currency pair, which is the US dollar, Canadian dollar. We will not be dealing with the euro and the pound this week. So with that being said, traders, let's go to the last but not least currency pair, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. Remember, the real account traders community receive all currency pair signals, and for those of you who want individual attention, you do not wish to be in a group, you want one-on-one uh, signals and mentorships, so that you can question and understand better without the pressure of being around other professional traders. We still offer that also. We do allow people to deal with us personally so that we can help you traders understand what the market needs at a specific time. So traders, let's go straight to the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. And traders, with the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, what I would like to see is a more deepened pullback to retest the first demand zone at 1.3970. This would be a place where I'll be looking for bullish patterns and formations to continue to make the new high from last week at 1.4033. This would also be a great place to take out profit at. And a deeper pullback will be right here at 1.3962. This would also be a great place to look for buying opportunities to continue from this demand zone and take out structure right here at 1.4033. Now, I'd like to discuss this before going anywhere else or in concluding the video. Right now, what we do have, it might just come from this level right here, and then this is where the bounce comes again. And so what I would like to see is make this new high, of course, and then a pullback to retest this, look for buying opportunities here, and if they are valid they shall hold and help me make that 1:3, because the pips from here to here would be less than 60 pips. So I would not be taking this as the new hype or the profit. Then I would only be taking this as 1:3. Now this would be a great place to look for buying opportunities only if this today's high is breaking and comes back down to retest for the continuation to the upside. But either way, we are still only looking for one thing, a pullback to the downside, of course. And with that being said, this pullback to the downside will be a great setup for us. The best setup for us, or the best scenario for us, is to look for a pullback and a continuation to the downside to continue to the upside. With that being said, traders, that is it from us, and thank you for watching this video till the end. Make sure you like this video and you subscribe, or refer someone else you think should know about this video, of course. And with that being said, thanks and happy trading.